were no longer permitted to wear beards because they got in the way of gas masks. This policy has evolved over time. Some special operations soldiers who served in the Middle East were allowed to grow beards in order to blend in with local populations. This guy with the red beard is not going to blend in with any local population. Not everyone in the military is fond of the new policy towards beards. In January, Commander Sergeant Major John Taxwell, the senior enlisted advisor to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said he believed beards are a distraction and a gimmick. So.
Sounds like he can't grow one.
Well, there's always somebody out there who doesn't like a new policy every single time. And a sergeant major is going to be a guy who wants to see cleanliness among the enlisted, so I'm not surprised. If you have any thoughts on this, love to hear it. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. But
I can't even imagine that there are people out there that feel strongly about this, but I guess that sergeant guy or whatever he thinks it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I think that there's a couple of things in this. This guy's got a funky religion, right? I mean, does he really believe?
Hey, whatever, man. Whatever floats your boat.
I understand. But does he really believe that these Norse gods are true? Does he really believe that there's a serpent that circles the earth? Probably not.
I don't know. Well, how do you know? I mean, there's all kinds of religions out there. What makes that any less believable than Christianity?
Christianity doesn't propose there's a giant serpent circling the earth.
There's been a lot of pretty bizarre stories in the Christian religion. I mean, there's like the whale that ate Jonah, right? Like, that's a pretty crazy story.
I'm sure that somebody has
40 days, 40 nights flooding the earth. That's a pretty crazy story.
You wish it was 40 days and 40 nights. It was a full year.
Okay, a full year, whatever.
Right. I would say that...
I just know what they taught me in Sunday school when I grew up.
I don't know about too many major religions. Too much. I kind of know all I need to know. But Christianity does not propose that you can go check on one of its supernatural things.
To go check on? What do you mean?
Right. There isn't a giant angel standing in the harbor of Haifa, for instance.
So do they believe that this serpent is visible? This giant serpent? I mean, it could be like an invisible serpent. Kind of like, Sky Daddy God. I mean, Christians like to believe that God's in heaven watching them, right? So, like, what makes a giant serpent any different from that?
I don't know. It's just hard for me to believe somebody's resurrecting this old religion and suddenly believes it. Like, you can act like you do, but I just don't think you do. You kind of have to grow up with it to believe it.
What was the name of this religion? Does it have a name, the Thor religion?
I think
I missed it if you said it earlier.
Right. They aren't listing it here in the Business Insider, but it's either known as Odinism or Asatru.
I've heard of Asatru.
Asatru, fine.
Asatru or whatever.
Pardon me if I get it wrong. It's not I don't take it terribly seriously. If you want to carry around you wear a little hammer necklace just to sort of signify, hey, this is where my people are from and that kind of thing, fine. I got no problems with that, but they don't really believe it, do they?
855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? 1? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is, the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. Themorganreport.com. Themorganreport.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And with you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We're going to get into your calls and thoughts on this question about freedom of religion in the military, basically. There's apparently a man who has been granted the ability to keep a beard under whatever circumstances one is allowed to do that. Apparently one of those circumstances is if you have a religion that demands that you have a beard. As I understand what you just told us about, Mark, we can get a little deeper into that, and you can join us here as well. Plus, I want to make sure that you know about ForkFest. It's coming up June 13th through the 18th. We will be broadcasting live from the event. You can join other like-minded, liberty-oriented people. If you are not liberty-oriented, you don't belong at ForkFest. But if you do love freedom, then you're probably going to enjoy it because there's a bunch of people that are going to be attending this year. In fact, I know Ernest Hancock from Declare Your Independence has cooked up a few T-shirts. So this will be the first year that there is a ForkFest T-shirt. It's only year number 3 of this decentralized libertarian camping event. Whether you're a voluntarist, an anarchist, a liberty lover in general, libertarian, you'll probably have a good time at ForkFest. It's decentralized, meaning there's nobody who is in charge. So that means everybody is, meaning you are in charge of your own experience. Do you just want to come hang out, camp with other freedom-minded people? Or do you want to create something for those other campers to do with their time? Like, I don't know, you're musically oriented, talented, put on a musical performance.
Maybe you want to open a little restaurant or stand.
Serve some food. maybe you want to throw a poker game together or something like that. There's already people who are planning to do some pretty cool stuff. Go learn more on the ForkFest forum, the ForkFest chat room, which you can link to from the unofficial ForkFest website at forkfest.party. And mark your calendar, June 13th through the 18th this year for the 3rd annual ForkFest. It's forkfest.party. Let's go to Mark. He's on the line in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC-FM. Hello, Mark.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight, Mark?
Well, I got a question. How do you know who Smedley Butler was?
How do I know?
Yeah.
I'm a Quaker.
I heard you mention his... Okay. Well, he was a Marine, you know.
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
He was the most decorated, well, I don't know what terminology to use, Marine in U.S. history, but most decorated military member in U.S. history.
He wrote a book or a pamphlet or whatever called War is a Racket.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, he had 2 Medals of Honor, too, I believe.
He would have had 3 if at the time they allowed officers to get Medals of Honor. At that moment in time, they only allowed enlisted men.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I was just going to say I know I spent 7 years in the Marine Corps, and the big thing about the facial hair was the gas mask. It won't seal if you've got a beard.
Right.
And they won't either. I mean, I know that for a fact. I saw guys that had real heavy beards in there, and they, when we got gas, they, you know, if they didn't shave twice a day, they were going to get gas.
Damn.
Even with their mask on.
Yeah, I wonder. So many military guys. I see a picture here from 2002. Some soldier out in Afghanistan, and he's got a full beard. I guess he's trying to blend in. Probably they're not dealing with a lot of gas out in Afghanistan, is just my guess. So he looks fine.
It's a thing with Afghani men too. They all have beards, so it is just kind of to blend in and to kind of do some of their customs, I guess.
Yep.
Mark, anything else you want to share tonight?
No, that's it.
Thanks for calling. I appreciate hearing from you. That's Mark in Indy.
Guys.
Yep, the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So this guy
I don't know if they still do it, but the Marine Corps, every night in boot camp, they had to say goodnight to Smedley Butler.
That's interesting, considering that Smedley Butler became a critic of the military toward the end of his run.
I don't know that he was a critic of the military. He was more a critic of how the military was being used by the government. So
has that changed?
No.
Then, I mean, that technically makes him a critic of the military, right?
I guess. Yeah. I think that the people who are in the military have a distinction in their mind, right? They say, I sign up to protect the people of the United States. And then the government does with me as they will. I've signed a check to give my life over.
Right, but they don't really protect the people of the United States. They're protecting the government. They're protecting the gang, the criminal gang known as the United States government.
They work for liars and thieves,
right?
No doubt. And
like, who are they gonna? If there actually was an invasion, and there's no real, I don't think any legitimate concern that there would be, because the United States tends to be pretty well armed. But if there actually was an invasion, would the military be tasked with protecting the politicians and the landmarks and the military bases over your neighborhood?
I suspect they'd roll a tank right over my house if it was they felt that it was militarily necessary.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that.
So no, I wouldn't think that they're trying to protect my house.
Yeah, I don't believe the claims that they're there for our protection. I understand that's what they want you to think, but they're the government. The government people tell you lies all the time.
Let's not forget that the Supreme Court has ruled that the government has no obligation to protect you.
That's true.
So,
and that includes the military.
It taking on the role of protector, monopoly protector.
You can hire somebody else to protect you. You can hire, bodyguards.
You still have to pay for the military, whether you think that it's an efficient form of protection or not. So it has many of the features of a monopoly, if not entirely. You can go get what do they call a ghost gunner, and you can carve M16s out of aluminum in your basement and have enough M16s lined up that you could put a militia together inside of a couple of months, I'm sure.
Those ghost gunners are pretty badass.
If that's what you want to do. However, if you don't pay your income tax while you're doing that, you're liable to go to jail because, well, at least some point in the future. It won't be right away. It takes them a little while to get around to it. But at some point or another, if you refuse to pay the income tax, you'll go.
Let's go to Mac. He's in Indianapolis listening to WIBC-FM. Hey, Mac.
How are you?
Hey, what's on your mind?
I consider myself a practicing Odinist, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the tenets of that spirituality that I think you're missing.
Excellent, because Mark is a huge critic, as you heard earlier.
I'm a critic of pretty much any religion. Go ahead.
That's funny because you're a minister.
Well, the thing is, Odinism isn't a religion in that typical sense. An Odinist doesn't worship Thor. An Odin looks at Thor as a Christian would look at a saint. An Odinist would look to Thor, Odin, Freya, Loki, Heimdall, whatever god or deity would serve him to give him strength and to redefine his connection with the world. So it's not as based in mythology, a snake wrapped around the world. Christians are more based in mythology with the resurrection and the Immaculate Conception and the burning bush than any Odinist is.
So what do you guys think about this serpent that's wrapped around the world? What is that?
Sounds symbolic to me.
It's a mythology. It's about Thor defeated this serpent when Ragnarok happened. It's a big myth.
Ragnarok's over?
Right. Hang on. Ragnarok, I don't know what that is. I haven't read the comics. Okay, I don't know anything about this.
It isn't the comics.
Hang on. I haven't seen the movies. I haven't read the comics. I certainly haven't read anything else about Thor. So hold on, Mac. If you can hang on, I'm going to bring you back here, okay? So stand by. More with Mac. He says he's an Odinist. This is Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Really forget it.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. It's bitcoin.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Yeah, it's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free. You can take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. We're talking about Odinism, which I know pretty much nothing about. I think a long time ago we had a couple listeners who practiced Asatru, which is related, maybe? I don't know. I'm pretty ignorant on this topic. Luckily, we've got a guy who says he's into this. On the line with us here, and he hung through the break. It's Ian and Mark in the studio with you. What brought all this up is a news story about a guy in the military, the Marines, I guess, specifically, who's been granted...
No?
Sorry.
I don't know that this guy's in the
I apologize.
Army, yeah.
It was the other caller who brought up Marines.
Yep.
Anyway, guy in the Army who is now going to be allowed to have a beard because he is an Odinist, because he believes in that religion, and that requires one to have a beard. Even though that could put him in some jeopardy of dying from, gas inhalation or being seriously harmed by that. But I guess he's willing to take the risk, and I guess the military has to say okay in this particular case. So
I suppose anybody with a beard right now is taking the risk that they could be gassed.
It looked, it also led to this conversation just sort of generally about Odinism, and Mark, you and I tend to be pretty ignorant on this subject, although you know more about some of its trappings than I do.
I've talked to a few people.
Yeah, you mentioned there's a serpent that they believe that allegedly wraps around the earth. And we have Mac back on the line with us here listening to WIBC. And Mac, I think, Mark, you just asked him about that serpent. Is this, something that the Odinists actually believe exists, or is it more of like a mythological tale that, doesn't... Tell me more about it.
Oh, a lot of those things come from the original Nordic sagas. They were stories and fables that carried spiritual messages. Okay, which if we're honest with ourselves, that's what the Bible is.
Yeah, sure.
It's not meant to be taken literally. Okay, and neither are the Nordic sagas, and they existed long before Stan Lee ever made them into a cartoon.
That was Jack Kirby.
Okay. Well, whoever started it, the sagas have predate Christianity. Okay, and I don't think anybody that calls himself an Odinist or a practitioner of the Nordic old ways is required to wear a beard. I don't think that's really a thing.
Is it encouraged?
But if he does,
do you have a beard?
I have a continually evolving beard. Yes, I do, but it's not based on my spirituality. I think if that soldier, if he draws strength from that, and he draws himself to the warrior creed that is very, very well represented in the Odinist philosophies, why would you want to stop him from doing that?
Why would I want to stop him? I don't know. I only want him to do whatever his sergeant wants him to do. I don't really care.
But understand,
you do care. You brought
really
up the story.
A religion.
What's that?
This isn't a religion. It is a spiritual underpinning that people use to draw strength for their life.
Okay.
I don't think anybody worships Thor the way you said.
I like that. Spiritual underpinning draws strength from their life. Can you describe this strength drawing? Why does it happen?
Well, on both solstices and equinox, my wife and my family, we will light candles to all of the four winds, the four directions, and we will reaffirm our connection with the earth and the cycle of life that we're all part of. And we will use Nordic deities, particular seasons that are related to the particular seasons to foster that feeling of goodwill and carry it to for the next 3 months until we to light the candles again. It's just simple.
4 times a year is a religious, ritual that I could get behind. That's pretty simple. It's not like every day, 5 times a day. It's just 4 times a year. That's all you got to do?
Yeah, and then we have a big meal, and we drink some beer, and
Sweet.
It's just,
You're giving beer to the kids?
Why not?
Yeah, well,
They give wine to them at church.
Yeah,
I only got grape juice when I went to church.
Well, that's because you went to the wrong church. If they really believed in the Bible, they would have given you wine.
Yeah, in closing up here, just don't think of it as a big serious religion that has serious tenets that are laid out that everybody understands. Because you can have one person calls himself an Odinist, and the next person they have a totally different commitment level and a totally different necessity for it in their life.
Now, my understanding is that some of the practitioners of Odinism or Asatru, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, are, let's say, fond of their own ethnicity. Have you found any of this?
Yeah. Well, it's based in very Teutonic lands. Okay.
Yep.
So people have subverted all sorts of philosophies to their own point of view, and unfortunately, that has happened with Odinism too.
Now, is this the? I'm just looking at, because again I know nothing at all. Looking at the Wikipedia article here on Odinism, it is called heathenry. Is this the same thing, or is it Germanic paganism?
I think a better word than heathen would probably be pagan.
Paganism. Okay. Well, they consider.
Can you tell me the difference between these two things?
Well, in my point of view, to use the word heathen is to say that you have accepted the existence of a Christian God, but you're denying his power in your life.
All right.
A pagan wouldn't even accept the existence of a Christian God.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
A heathen is just not following the rules. A pagan doesn't recognize the rules.
How'd you get into this?
Good question.
What made you decide to, I don't know, get into this?
Just my heritage. I'm Scotch-Irish, and there are no Irishmen that don't have Northern blood in them. And it's just comfortable for me. My parents were Roman Catholics, and that's always felt dark and scary and inaccessible. And this is of me.
This is more empowering. This is something that resonated with you when you heard about it. But how'd you find it? Like, what?
It feels good.
What is it? What led you to it?
I'd be hard to say. I don't know. I found a book. The Rights of Odin.
What was it? The Rights of Odin?
The Rights of Odin is the book, and the guy, that author's name escapes me at the moment, but it goes through all kinds of seasonal ceremonies, and these are all just family get-togethers and potlucks with candles. Is all this is.
Interesting.
So anybody that backs this up with hate or violence, they're doing it wrong.
So why the Irish? Is it just because we don't know very much about Irish gods? That we've got a lot of documentation on the Norse gods. We don't have a lot on the Irish gods. Is it that reason?
Well, and there aren't. The Norse gods were held sway over all of Eastern Europe through lots of Celtic people, not just in the Scandinavian countries. And certainly the Vikings and the Scandinavians were very nomadic and aggressive. And, there's lots of Nordic blood there in Ireland on the English Isles.
Let's not forget that Charlemagne stirred them up. They really didn't do anything before Charlemagne came along and sort of wiped them out because they wouldn't convert to Christianity. And then their northern brethren came down and so you got a problem with us? And that's kind of what started the Vikings in the first place.
Yeah, and a lot of your tenets of Christianity have been lifted directly from the old ways.
Yeah, I think that modern ones, there was, Clovis and these sorts of people, their conversion to Christianity required a certain amount of taking the warlike spirit that the North people had and incorporating it into Christianity. Prior to that, you really didn't see as much of it. It wasn't until about 1000 AD that the Christianity would even accept anybody being more or less a soldier and being a believer at the same time.
Sure, And you could look at Christmas itself, Christmas Day. There's no actual record of what time of year Jesus Christ was allegedly born, but there were pagan celebrations at that time of year.
Yeah.
Pagans would notice the solstice, the change in the season, around the 23rd, right around solstice when it happens, and they would celebrate with decorating trees, exchanging gifts, and feasting. And so a great way to usurp that religion and to get people converted to Christianity is to go ahead and pick up some of their traditions.
That's right. Yeah, we've talked about that before, how the Christians just basically straight up lifted a lot of their stuff right off of the pagans. Interesting call. I thank you for sharing tonight. Very informative. And Mac, I appreciate your call and your time. So there you go, Mark. You were asking. You thought nobody would believe in.
He said it wasn't really a religion or belief system or anything like that. And I'm fine with that.
That it's a spiritual practice from which he derives strength.
Fine.
That sounds religious to me.
Whatever floats your boat.
855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want here. This is Free Talk Live. Coming up, the Satanists.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event. Even with coupon code FTL50. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNlife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNlife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733.
What are you giggling about?
Somebody has taken your King Mark photograph on the Discord server and has added a hand-styled, like hand-drawn with a paint tool, like a mustache and a goatee.
I am dashing, I can say that.
You can see what's going on in our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. I think that has to do with your comments on beards from earlier. Every now and then you're known to grow out your facial hair a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a few
times. During the winter time.
Usually has to do with working outside. But I find
just because it's cold, you mean?
Right.
Okay.
It's a free muffler on your face.
True.
And it's less cumbersome than anything else that you can put across your face. So it's a utilitarian thing. I find it difficult to not pull on whatever.
To fidget.
Yeah, to fidget with it. And your finger's dirtiest part of your body, second dirtiest, I suppose. And
I've heard beards aren't known for being particularly clean either.
Right. And so I don't want my hands touching something close to my mouth. That seems bad.
Well, you can join us here, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind, whether it's talking about Odinism, which we just actually had an Odinist on the line with us. And he preferred to not use the term heathen, but preferred pagan, and it is a pagan religion. Now, one of the things we didn't get into was, well, what's the difference between Odinism and other pagan religions? How many different pagan religions are there? I honestly don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, we know that they exist. We've talked to some pagans over the years here on Free Talk Live, kind of about their holidays and some of their rituals. But still, Mark, you and I are pretty ignorant when it comes to this subject. So it was really enlightening, an interesting conversation. You can, of course, bring up whatever you want. On the way here, we're talking about the Satanic Temple next. That's coming up, where the IRS has apparently recognized them as a church. And since you were talking about the military, Mark, I've got a military-related story as well about them turning towards video gamers as potential recruits. So we can get into all that and more, but let's go first to your phone calls and thoughts. We have Patrick on the line in Norfolk, Virginia, listening to WNIS. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Good. What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, well, I called before. I was I'm from the West Coast, so I was kind of trying to find out if there's still active volcanoes on the Cascade. I think it's the Cascade Range.
Do you have the internet?
Washington. No.
Okay. Have you noticed this, Mark, that people without the internet have some of them use us as like their Google search, like to call Free Talk Live and ask a question because they don't have any way of. Really, you don't have any internet?
No.
Wow.
No.
Have you ever?
Local library, but I mean, no.
Yeah,
I don't
honestly, I don't know anything about
too much.
Which volcanoes are active or not active. I imagine somebody could look that information up with
it says here,
search.
March 22, that active volcanoes dominate skyline of Pacific Northwest and has lots of little hot red triangles next to it. So anything could happen here.
I don't think you should worry, though, if you're in Norfolk. Is there
Shasta?
Is there a volcano in Norfolk?
No, but I got family back there. That's what I was wondering.
Well, if they're living near an active volcano, they should probably move out of there. Thanks for the call tonight.
Well, I mean, active, that's more of a term that surrounds like a 1,000-year period than anything.
Yeah, that's true. It's not necessarily billowing smoke. That doesn't mean that it's active.
Yeah.
No. Either way.
I did see one in Hawaii, and then a couple months later, it was spewing some lava out. So
Yeah. Hey, if you want to build your house within active volcano range, you're taking a risk. If you want to build a house right on the ocean, you're taking a risk.
A bigger one, I'd say.
Yeah, there's all kinds of very dangerous places to put a home, and I would recommend that if you want a safer spot, move inland and move away from the volcano. Of course, there's no guarantees. Then a tornado could touch down and just destroy you at that point.
There's always that.
Yeah, so you can bring up whatever you want here. The Army turning to video gamers for new recruits. This story from CBSNews.com. And fairly recent, the Army missed its recruiting goal. This is what I mentioned earlier. They missed their recruiting goal for the first time since 2005, which they blamed on a strong economy. I guess that means that the translation there is if people have something going on in their life that's worth doing, they'll do that over join the military. Seems like a good plan.
I think a lot of people who are looking for a little direction are, go to the military.
They got nothing better to do. They're lost in life. They want to be told how to live and what to do.
I was ready to sign up.
So was I when I was a punk-ass teenager.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Why
does it make you glad?
I don't think that anybody should.
Why does that make you glad that I was, a young dupe and brought in by militaristic movies and things like that into thinking the military was cool and that I could get free rent or all these perks and bennies and have at it with international conflict?
The Hollywood actually does have deals with the U.S. military in order to, sort of make the military look good. You're going to get in trouble.
They sure do.
Your studio's going to get in trouble if you make sort of anti-military movies.
That's right. You, at the very least, are not going to get funding from them.
Well, you certainly won't get to borrow an M16.
Right. They have private people that can sell those things to you.
I really meant to say F-16, but I guess they both worked. So
one's a little more common than the other.
Yeah, you probably get an M16 at the Hollywood rental place or something.
Yeah.
But an F-16 gets a little more difficult. They might have a paper mache one you could sit in and look like you're in it.
Well, I mean, there's computer graphics. You could probably have a fake F-16.
Pretty quickly, it's not going to make a difference, right?
Yeah, these days. But either way, you're correct. The military does have an approval process for movie scripts, and they will, if they don't like your script, they'll tell you what to change if you want to get the funding. So I'm not sure where you're going with that, but let's go on.
I'm just saying that young people tend to, that don't have any place to go necessarily, end up in the military, and it can be a pretty good choice for them. I think in a lot of cases that young people, they don't know what they're signing up for, and they've been
lied to in a lot of cases.
Well, what sort of lies are we talking about?
Military recruiters are notorious for telling lies about what job you'll have if you sign up. Oh yeah, well yeah, you want to be over in the communications division. Oh yeah, no problem. We'll get you a job over there. You'll be working with radios all day, son. And then you end up in the infantry,
sleeping in the rain. If you can sign a contract that says you will go to a certain spot.
Oh,
That's
is that right?
Possible. It's just that they don't want to sign you up that way, and they're not going to make it easy for you. So if you sign a contract that says, number one, I'd like to go to communications. Number two, I'd like to play the French horn in the military band. And number three, I'll sleep outside in the rain with the infantry guys. Then if they don't have room in the communications or the French horn division, then you're outside sleeping in the rain. You signed the contract. Should young people sign contracts without paying attention? Well, 4 years you'll figure out what you signed, I guess. You'll figure out that your word has meaning.
Yeah, well, we've heard from plenty of people who've been in the military and felt like they got taken by these recruiters. Straight up lied to.
I hear that, but I think that young people are getting taken far more seriously by the college apparatus these days.
Okay, at least they don't end up getting shot to death by the college.
It's rare that you're going to get shot to death in the military. Not to say it couldn't happen, and certainly the military doesn't take your body and your health very well.
Get shot by your own guys.
It happens.
Blown up by an IED. I mean, you're right, Mark, that deaths are not as common in the military these days. At least the ones excluding suicides, because those are more common, I think, now than they have been in the past.
Yeah, military suicides are very high.
Combat deaths are lower than they were in, say, Vietnam or
college suicides are probably pretty high too.
Yeah, I knew somebody who I went to high school with who killed himself in college.
People with debt and suicide, that correlates.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not saying I support the college debt.
That's all I'm saying is that kids today are given really crappy choices, and the military is only one of those choices, and it can be used to benefit yourself. I don't think that anybody should ever forget that politicians at their own whims will send young people off to die over wars that are really about mineral rights and a variety of other things.
Or political wrangling, control.
Yeah, they won't tell us what it's about or why they want it, but they'll do it, sure.
Well, the U.S. military, the Army specifically, has what they're calling a new target, video gamers. Now, I don't agree with the article in this case because the military has been targeting gamers for at least a decade, maybe longer than that. They've had a U.S. Army game that has existed since I think I lived in Florida. So I think it's been like 13, 15 years since they had this game. I can look it up and find out more about that. But they're putting together an esports team. So they are kind of moving into at least a new area of gaming to try to recruit. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, you can take control of the airwaves. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. Open phones. You can bring up anything. Also, coming up, the Satanic Temple. Back in the news with the IRS apparently acknowledging them as a religion. This is Free Talk Live. Hour 2 is next.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Go to GCNteam.com or call 855-GCN-MALL. That's 855-426-6255. GCNteam.com or 855-426-6255. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,272, silver at $14.67, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,673. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Facebook on Thursday banned controversial political personalities for violating the company's policies on dangerous individuals and organizations. The Free Thought Project reports the majority who were removed are far-right activists like Milo Yiannopoulos, Laura Loomer, Alex Jones, and Paul Joseph Watson. However, in a seeming move to appease those on the right who advocate for equal censorship, Facebook also banned far-left Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. While Facebook has previously banned the Jones & Watson affiliated InfoWars from the platform, they allowed the personal pages to stay up. The bans came one day prior to May 3rd's World Press Freedom Day, a day set aside annually to celebrate the freedom of the press. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices, with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. As the United States continues its longest war in Afghanistan, the U.S. military has elected to stop releasing information often used to measure progress, citing uncertainty in the way the data is produced, which have resulted in subjective underlying assessments. The Mind Unleashed reports that in remarks to reporters last week, John Sopko, the Special Inspector General, criticized what he called a trend toward less openness by the military authorities, who are advising, training, and assisting Afghan security forces. The move comes amid a stalemate within the Trump administration, as the Pentagon has proposed sending nearly 4,000 more U.S. troops into the conflict, which many in the White House oppose. Some in the White House have even proposed withdrawing completely or handing over the American effort to private security contractors. As the Associated Press notes, the decision to restrict battlefield information is but the most recent step in a trend of less transparency about the war in recent years, often at the insistence of the Afghan government, which has, in previous instances, stopped the U.S. military from disclosing how many Afghans had been killed in battle, and the overall attrition within the Afghan army. Several Jewish American activists were beaten and forcefully detained by the Israeli army alongside Palestinian and Israeli activists on Friday morning, while working to repair a road linking Palestinian villages in the South Hebron Hills. The anti-media reports those forced to the ground and dragged into military vehicles included several who appeared to be rabbis and several elderly members of the group. The activists were part of a delegation of 42 Jews from the U.S. and Canada who are on a 2-week tour of the West Bank organized by the U.S.-based Center for Jewish Nonviolence to promote Jewish and Palestinian coexistence and to resist the ongoing Israeli military occupation. On Friday morning, the group was participating in a road rehabilitation project alongside Palestinian activists and members of local village councils, and activists from All That's Left, an Israeli anti-occupation campaign group. After less than an hour, Israeli military and border control agents arrived on the scene, encircling the group and blocking entry and exit to the road. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
According to a groundbreaking study on anxiety disorders published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, researchers have discovered that feelings of anxiety can be completely resolved as long as people think about them real hard.
After studying subjects with mild to chronic anxiety disorders, we found that the best way to overcome mental stress is to isolate the root of the anxiety, analyze it from every possible angle, and then think about it nonstop until it completely disappears.
Researchers worked with numerous subjects in the middle of high-stress scenarios and said the key to overcoming anxiety is to start by focusing on a minor problem, list everything that can go wrong in the worst-case scenario, and then repeat that list in your head 200 times. After anywhere between 3 to 6 hours of perpetually torturing yourself over things outside of your control, all feelings of anxiety will completely disappear, and you can finally enjoy the remainder of your day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the second hour of this live Saturday edition of the show. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And you can join us online. Just drop on over to freetalklive.com. Enjoy the features you will find there on the site. They're totally free. Unlike a lot of those talk show hosts in the business, they charge you for their websites. We do it free, and you get pretty much everything they got on those websites they charge you for, like a webcam and various different ways to interact with the audience and such over at freetalklive.com. As we continue here, we've been talking about the military. There was a story about a guy with a beard who's been approved to continue having a beard in the military, and
because of his religion.
Odinism or Asatru, or heathenism or paganism, whichever you want to call it. So we learned a little bit about that. And that has led to a further discussion on the military, specifically their recruiting goals. The Army has missed its recruiting goal for the first time since 2005. And now they're turning towards video gamers as a target for potential recruiting. We'll tell you more about that. Of course, you're welcome to bring up whatever's on your mind. Let's go first to your calls and thoughts. It's David listening in New Mexico to KABQ in Albuquerque. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, how this politician stuff goes down. But I missed something you said. Mark, were you saying that it was or was not Odinism was or was not a religion?
Well, the gentleman had called in and said that at least his understanding of the practice was that it was more of a spiritual empowerment system than a religion.
I would say both are true. I would say that it's both what he said and seen as a religion in the old days. I mean,
sure.
Still seen as one.
Spiritual empowerment sounds like a synonym for religion for somebody who doesn't like the word religion. That's what that sounds like to me.
I think you have to kind of believe it. So religion, I don't think every religion necessarily believes in people dancing around in the sky, but most of them do. So you kind of have to have that. Not have to have what?
Well, just
magic beings.
In casual conversations with people that I know in Norway and Sweden, it appears that they view Odinism as a religion, not that they necessarily practice it today. Some do, some don't, but the way they speak of it as a religion. But anyway, there was had an interesting encounter on the radio, calling in. The local radio station had a politician, this Gavin Clarkson. He's run for different things here in New Mexico. He was in the Fed. He was held a federal position in one of the presidential administrations. I don't remember which one it is. If the person was interested, obviously you can search it real quick. And he, ironic or coincidentally, he happened to be the guy. He was in Washington, D.C. You discussed this the other day about people not knowing that New Mexico is part of the United States. He was the guy in Washington, D.C. that was in there with his wife applying to get a marriage license and that kind of thing. And he presented his ID. The woman asked for his ID, gave her a New Mexico driver's license, and she said, "Oh, sorry, we can't take this," because they needed one from the United States. And
this happens to people from New Mexico all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. And this guy happened to be a government official when he's in there getting his marriage license. So the government worker in D.C. takes his license back to her supervisor. And they come back a few minutes later and decide that they can after all give him a marriage license because New Mexico is indeed part of the U.S.
That's a relief.
Thanks for checking that out, lady.
Yeah, really. And so this dude, I talked to him. I asked him a question on the radio, and his answer is telling of what we got going down here in the United States. But this guy's background, he went to Harvard Law, and he's currently a professor at the New Mexico State in Las Cruces, and he's run for a political office previously, and now he wants to be my senator. And so,
so he's an attorney and an academic?
Yeah. So that should tell you. But he masquerades, and this guy, once again, Gavin Clarkson, because this will get back to him. Hey, Gavin, how you doing? You're the one that dodged my question, or that told me I was wrong, and let me tell you how you were wrong, Gavin. But anyway, so he's on the radio because he wants to be my senator. Mm-hmm. And by being an ass, I managed to get myself on the radio station that has banned me by being a total ass.
No, wait a minute. There's more than one radio station that's banned you. Is this the one that called the cops on you and had you arrested, or just one of the ones that's banned you?
this one only reported me to the cops, and the cops didn't do anything about it. This one's KKOB, the commercial radio station.
Okay.
They've called the cops, but the cops won't do anything about it. Whereas KUNM having their own police force because they're the University of New Mexico and they have their own police force. Yeah, their police actually responded and we're currently in court about it, and they want to put me in jail for 364 days for insisting I have a right to call.
So
the
you got
radio
past
station.
the phone screener at
Gavin
KKOB.
Clarkson should do a little time in jail just for this necktie thing that he's wearing. He's got one of those bolos where
Bolo?
A bolo. It's like a necktie, but
look it up.
Western. It's like these two pieces of rope with a little medallion in the middle.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those.
Yeah, they're awful.
Well,
That's like a totally Western thing. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's
No?
it's like a 1960s Western thing.
Yeah, right. Well, he is from New Mexico. He claims both of his parents are tribal members here in New Mexico, and he is the what was a 2012 country western dance champion.
So what is it about this guy? I mean, you said you want him to, or he wants to rule over you as a senator. So, like, what did you confront him with? Where are you going with this?
What I confronted him with is I wanted to discuss with him the issue of parents and children's rights. And for instance, there happened. I'm sorry. I wanted to discuss that, and he shut me down immediately. Of course, you asked the question, and instead of having a discussion, they immediately cut me off and let him say whatever he wants to.
Yeah, that's typical talk radio.
Right, and what they did is when they cut me off, what his response was, Gavin Clarkson, the Harvard lawyer, New Mexico professor, what his response was is that my question was invalid to his office because the issue of parental rights is a local issue, was his words, not a federal issue. And I can prove that wrong, Gavin Clarkson, on many different levels. Let me just share one with you. For the last decade or more, there has been submitted to the House on a continuing basis an attempt to pass a Parental Rights Act, which would specify more clearly what rights parents have regarding their children, so that less is left up to the courts to screw with parents over. And by definition, if this act is a valid act that has been submitted over and over and over again by a half a dozen or more different congressional sponsors, that by definition, Mr. Harvard lawyer, graduate, professor, that by definition proves that it is a federal issue. Otherwise, it would not be before our federal legislature.
Right. At the very least, he should be able to answer the question about whether or not he would support such legislation. But obviously, he didn't want to even have any kind of conversation with you. Thank you for the call tonight, David. I appreciate it.
It seems reasonable that rights should, among them, your sort of parental rights should be enumerated. Why wouldn't we have that in the Constitution too? The writers of the Bill of Rights were pretty clear that the rights that they were enumerating weren't
all of them.
Only rights.
Yeah.
There's just some of them. So as we go on and we determine more rights as time goes by, we probably should add them. And it seems to me, if you've parented a child, and certainly if you have to pay for one, that you've got certain rights.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's one of the things that frustrated me about talk radio, because you could hear that happen. I could hear that happening to to callers on most talk shows. Was they'd get one line out, they'd say whatever initial thing they were going to say or ask a question, and then get cut off. Obviously, because whenever I was listening to talk radio, it was like, what happened to that caller? They didn't say goodbye to him. There's no further interaction with the callers. They were on for a moment, then they were gone, and then the host just yaks and yaks and yaks. And so that's one of the reasons why I founded Free Talk Live, was because I wanted callers to be able to actually have the opportunity to express whatever it was that they were actually calling about, or at the very least respond to the person they were talking to.
Well, when you have a guest on, though, you want to give more time to the guest, and the callers can filibuster in their question. They wander around. They're not professional question askers.
That's a good point.
I think it's best if, as a caller, when you're dealing with an interviewee, that you spit it right out, and that's about it.
But even without a guest, they do the same thing.
A politician, they claim to represent you. I think it's a bit different.
Yeah, there's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free here, bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Coming up, the Satanic Temple back in the news and apparently approved by the IRS as a religion. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also, want to let you know about Bitcoin.com, your premier source for everything Bitcoin Cash related. Bitcoin.com can help you choose a Bitcoin Cash wallet, buy Bitcoin Cash, and show you where you can spend your Bitcoin Cash. You can read the latest news headlines or engage with the community on their forum over at Bitcoin.com. Plus, they also have games that you can play with Bitcoin Cash at Bitcoin.com. As we continue here, speaking of games, the U.S. Army is now targeting gamers. Well, The way the story's written, they make it sound like this is a new strategy. It's not. It's something they've been doing for a number of years. In fact, the game that they came out with, I remember, I think it was back when I was living in Florida, so probably at least 15 years ago, was called America's Army. And it was a god-awful game. Now, I don't know if it's been improved since then and, various different updates and such. Yeah, it looks like 2002 was when it came out.
They got the budget to update it.
Yep, they sure do. So it looks like, they've updated it a few times over the years. But it was just, as far as games go, terrible. Now, I guess it's supposed to be kind of realistic, or supposedly. But that's actually not what this story is about. This is about them targeting gamers at esports gaming competitions, I guess. They're not conferences. They're competitions where people come to a room and sit in, chairs and play video games while a crowd actually watches them, apparently.
And they call it a sport.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, and I've never actually witnessed it, nor am I interested in witnessing it. And I like video games. I grew up on them. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so I was there for the true time, the original years of the video game business.
Yeah, I balk at the notion of calling it a sport.
I think that's ridiculous, personally. Yeah,
but there are sports out there. Let's take bowling, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
That's on TV. They've been playing bowling and calling it a sport since I was a kid.
There is something physical involved in bowling. You have to be able to lift a ball.
Yeah, you have to be able to
swing it
and aim it, but you have to be able to pick up a controller and use it.
Which is even less of physical effort. I mean, there's not much involved in that.
Well, sometimes you have to lean to one side or the other in order to get the player on the screen to do exactly what you want.
Well, they actually do have those kind of controls these days, Mark, but I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, I'm talking about the video gamer lean.
Yeah, the old school lean where they didn't have motion detection or anything like that, and you're just you're dodging the enemy or whatever it is.
Right.
The game system has no idea you're doing that. Of course, nowadays they have all kinds of sensors where you don't even need a gamepad anymore, where there's cameras that track your every motion.
I do look forward to the role-playing games where you're out there slashing with a sort of fake sword in your hand and killing dragons or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, you'll actually get tired in those games, from what I understand. They actually have games that
I might be ready to call that a sport.
If it were competitive, then I guess maybe you could argue about that. These new virtual reality games, Mark, I don't know if you've tried virtual reality yet.
I've put my cell phone up to my eyes in a gizmo.
Yeah, we did that a few years ago here. We had like the Google, what was it, Cardboard, I think it was.
Somebody sent us a cardboard thing. And
you fold it up and then
downloaded the app. And
that was a cool gimmick, It's like, this is kind of what VR is like, kind of.
Yeah.
But then you try out like the Oculus Rift and, boy, it is something else. It's pretty persuasive, and it's just Generation 1. I was watching... let's see, some sort of video game review of the new. They've got a new version, right? The Oculus is coming out with a new one, and this one is going to be a self-contained unit, wherein the previous, the first generation of the virtual reality hardware, and when I say first, I mean recent times. I'm not talking about the '90s VR. Okay, we're talking about recent years. The first generation of recent VR, they had these big like a cable pack that comes off of the helmet, and then that has to plug into a pretty ballsy computer. Like you got to have a killer graphics.
You're doing a lot of rendering.
Yeah, right. Because you got to render for each eye. So you've got two different screens that are being rendered instead of your normal one that you'd be looking at on your computer. So your graphics card's got to be a beast. Your computer's got to be a beast. And you're plugged in, so it's kind of awkward, right, to have cables coming off of you when you're turning around and you're moving within a space. So they're getting rid of the cables, and they're getting rid of the computer, and they're just doing it as like a game system that basically is on your head.
So several museums out there, including the Field Museum in Chicago and the Museum of Natural History in New York, I have, in the case of the Field Museum, I went through their virtual reality thing that they had.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was
so that was pretty state of the art, right? What year was this?
Late last year.
Okay, probably pretty good then. Pretty impressive.
It was. It wasn't hyper realistic.
Okay.
But it was neat. My son You take him to the Field Museum and show him millions of year old dinosaur bones. He wants to get to the VR setup.
Hell yeah.
Whatever.
Go look at dinosaur bones in VR.
You're right. That would be that's the
Then
trick.
you can touch them.
Well, you can move them, sort of. And the same thing happened. As a matter of fact, he built a dinosaur skeleton in the Natural History Museum in New York, and both of these things are pretty cool setups.
Mm-hmm. So let's continue. We can talk more about the Army targeting gamers in the esports world here in moments. We ended up going off on a tangent, but that happens on Free Talk Live and open phones anytime. So we love tangents here on Free Talk Live. Let's go to Jeff. He's in Kentucky, listening online. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hello. I have something to add to last night's discussion about how Facebook is banning accounts like Louis Farrakhan.
Yep. Alex Jones.
Fan pages. Yeah.
Yep.
And anybody who has fan pages, because I have personal experience.
Tell me about what do you mean?
With Facebook. Well, back in February, I wasn't banned for life, but back in February, I was temporarily banned because I had nothing to do with hate speech, no cursing, no porn, but yet, however, I have a major foot fetish, and
oh dear.
So I just I found some pictures on another Facebook page.
Okay.
That I liked, and I put them on my Facebook page, and
these are just people's toes?
It popped up. Well, I'm a soul man, and I'm not referring to the old 60s song.
So you're into the soles of a foot, specifically. You have a very specific part of the foot that you're into.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a woman's soul.
Interesting.
And this is all the picture was. It was just a woman, totally clothed except from her ankles to the soles of her feet.
Yeah.
And as soon as I put that picture on my account, Facebook made something pop up saying that I was banned for so many days.
No way.
This is what is, yeah.
And you got it from another Facebook page? Because this happened to us one time. It didn't have anything to do with a foot fetish, but it had to do with bikini girls, basically. We had the Gold Coast Meter Maids.
Reporting on a news story.
Right, the Gold Coast Meter Maids, which are a bunch of hotties that walk around and fill parking meters in Gold Coast, Australia, as a customer service. It's amazing stuff. And we were talking about that, so we linked to their Facebook page.
We got banned for that.
And we got banned for that, temporary ban. So we'll come back with Jeff, the Soul Man. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here, 855-450-FREE. Whether it's military recruiting video gamers or foot fetishists, we'll talk about anything. Now, to be clear, if it's anything to do with sex, there's certain rules and restrictions that have to come into play. The federal government's FCC doesn't really care.
I'm generally not grateful to the federal government or the FCC for anything, but in this circumstance, I think I might be.
We just have to, be cautious with those conversations. And so far, our caller's been pretty well behaved on the topic, just kind of generally talking about a foot fetish, getting him banned from Facebook. That was actually the purpose of his call. It was talking about Facebook targeting people like Louis Farrakhan, Alex Jones, and others, labeling them as, quote, dangerous. I don't know if you heard about this, Mark, but we covered it last night.
I read this story
in some detail on the show. Now, of course, you can join us online anytime you want. Go to freetalklive.com, and online, every now and then we do after shows. So last night we did one of those after shows. It ended up going for 4 hours after Free Talk Live. So we did 3 hours on the air,
this
4
is
more
the
hours.
Problem with any live stream or podcast or anything like that. There's no particular time limit on these things.
Well, I mean, you can set your own time limit if you want to, but if you're having fun and people are participating, then we keep going sometimes. But we do those on our live streaming platforms, the video live streaming platforms, Twitch and DLive. You can go to twitch.lrn.fm or dlive.lrn.fm and follow us on either of those platforms. Speaking of bans, we did catch a temporary ban on Twitch recently for so-called nudity on the Twitch stream, which, by the way, they've never answered my questions about. I sent them an email during the purported ban or temporary ban, asking questions about what they meant by nudity, and do male nipples count as nudity? And I had a few different related questions, and they have not bothered answering my questions. I guess they have no obligation to provide me with any answers. It's just like, just keep stepping around there in the darkness and see what works and what doesn't. See what gets you banned and what doesn't. And sometimes some surprising things will get you banned from some of these platforms. We're going to continue, and we'll take your calls and thoughts. But we still have Jeff on the line in Kentucky. Jeff, you're back on Free Talk Live. Now, you said you posted a foot-related photograph from another Facebook page. So the photo was already on Facebook. You've posted this to your personal page, your personal profile, and
got an immediate ban, which I have never heard of.
Yeah. How long after the post were you banned?
I was banned for 30 days.
No. How quickly? I mean, Mark said it was immediate, but was it like a minute? Was it instantly? Was it an hour later? Was it the next morning? When
Has Facebook assigned a censor right to you?
Like, when did you notice the ban went into place after you made the post?
I'm not kidding, guys. Only like 15 seconds at most.
Wow. So the post, did it successfully post to the page, or did it never even make it?
It didn't even make it. They said that they're not going to show it. And this is the really disturbing part, because I was already familiar and heard a lot how Facebook doesn't respect our privacy.
Nope, they sure don't.
Things like that. And here's the disturbing part for me.
Okay.
I had my settings set to where it would only post to only me. I chose that setting, only me. And it still somehow caught it. Even though you see a whole lot more at a public beach. This was just a woman's feet.
Okay, now, question about the content of, because normally when somebody posts something to Facebook, if it's a photo, they'll usually post some sort of caption, some sort of text along with it. Was there something offensive, perhaps, some wording in the text that might have triggered whatever auto filter that they got going on behind the scenes?
Absolutely nothing. I put no text on it, and there was no text in the picture.
That's crazy.
It was just nothing more. Yeah. And it's just like, what constitutes porn? Like the problem you guys have with this other site.
Was there a lot of skin in the photograph? Was it just somebody's foot, or you said the person was clothed, right? So it wasn't like they were showing a lot.
The woman was totally clothed. I mean, even to the point of wearing long pants. She was wearing jeans.
Yeah.
The only thing that was off was her shoes and socks.
That's weird, because
I know how to describe this, but unbelievable. It's just it. I don't understand how this could have happened.
And they don't give you an explanation. There was no citation of nudity policy. Was there anything where they got more specific?
It just said something about their community standards. What is community standards about a relatively obscure fetish, just about feet, that we see every day? You see a whole lot more than that at the public beach.
According to the story at Vice.com entitled "This is Why Some People Are Turned On by Feet," written by a foot fetishist named Grant Stoddard, he says there was a 2007 study published in the International Journal of Impotence Research found that among those professing to have a fetish, feet were the most common preferences for body parts. So I don't know if it's that uncommon. I mean, a former co-host of ours was into feet, so maybe it's not that uncommon. But regardless of how common it is, it doesn't seem like it should in any way violate a Facebook community guidelines policy if it wasn't showing any nudity and you weren't typing in really offensive things along with the caption as well. But we don't run the site, and they have whatever arbitrary, stupid rules they're going to have. I would recommend getting off of Facebook and finding somewhere else that's more respective of your particular belief systems and preferences. Jeff, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Interesting story. People have been getting banned left and right off of Facebook, and sometimes there's some reasons and rationale that are given, and other times they don't owe you an explanation. It's their platform. They can do whatever they want with it.
I think the best thing that a lot of people could get would be a 30-day ban off of Facebook.
Just to give them a break, just to give them the incentive to figure out something else to do with their time?
Sure. I think Facebook's good for,
what?
Posting a few pictures of your family so that your friends can see them and that kind of thing.
Sure.
Maybe exchanging some recipes.
Yeah.
That's about all I've got. I think that's what it should be for. It should be a sort of, I think it's a great way to sort of make a chronicle of your life, diary, that kind of thing. Now, let's not forget
that then Facebook can then mine for data and sell.
As they do, and the federal government, they're completely in bed with them, and so you're giving all the information you possibly could to the authorities. But
you're creating your own profile for the federal government.
Everybody wants it. Most people have thought to themselves, I should write a diary.
This is the closest that some come to it.
This is a great way to sort of figure out where you were, when you were, sometime in the past. If it was a little more searchable and usable, that'd be cool.
Garbage. You can't search crap on Facebook. It's useless. But I'm not going to rehash the things I said about it last night because I had a few things to say about Facebook. So if you missed that, you can go to our website at freetalklive.com. You can download previous episodes there that go all the way back to 2006.
I'm sure all of them were smug and just talking about how you've kicked the Facebook habit and everybody else should too.
No, I mean, hey, if you like it, no. What I said is if you like it, man, have a blast. It's just, it doesn't do what it once did. It doesn't connect effectively, and it doesn't allow for organizing, and it doesn't effectively allow you to communicate the people that you want to reach. So they broke it, and they broke it so on the intention of you paying them to reach the people you want.
They did do that.
So that's the short version. Anyway, the International Journal of Impotence Research, according to the story here, fully 47% of fetish groups' subscribers in the sample the study looked at were into feet. 47% of them. That doesn't tell us how many of the masses like feet, of course, and foot-related things, but among the, quote, pervs of 2007, it was pretty big. Study's authors also mentioned Sigmund Freud noticed the frequent interest in feet and ascribed it to the notion that feet are, quell your surprise, a penis symbol. That I've never heard. I have never heard that about the foot before, and I can't even understand how that could be. Maybe that says more about Freud than it does anybody else.
I get the impression Freud called lots of things phallic.
He says, I chiefly credit my foot fetish, because this is a question I meant to ask the caller, but I forgot it. Like, how'd you get into it? Because I'm always interested to know, like, where'd that come from? He says, I credit my foot fetish to the events of an uncharacteristically long, hot English summer in my middle adolescence. 2 other boys and I spent many summer days with 3 girls we knew from school. We sunbathed, hung out at a local swimming pool, went walking in the nearby woods, where the girls plucked daisies between their toes on more than one occasion.
Well, there you go.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up whatever you want, and it's Free Talk Live.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Tent approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event. Even with coupon code FTL50. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Join me, George Norrie, in Indian Wells, California, May 31st to June 3rd for the Contact in the Desert UFO Conference, an epic weekend of exploration into ancient aliens, human origins, crop circles, and UFO sightings. More than 100 lectures, panels, workshops, and events with leading experts like Giorgio Tsoukalos, David Wilcock, Linda Moulton Howe, Eric Von Daniken, Doc Wallach, and so many more. Get your tickets today at contactinthedesert.com. It's time to make contact. Contactinthedesert.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Whoops. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can.
Professional broadcasters here.
Yes, we're doing great tonight. Ian and Mark in the studio. We'll take your calls and thoughts about whatever you want. We were discussing briefly the U.S. military, specifically the Army, not meeting its recruiting goals and turning towards video gamers in a new way. They're starting up their own e-sports team. And then that led off into a different direction. That then we had a caller who was talking about a foot fetish. And not knowing a whole lot about foot fetishes, I found myself curious. And, of course, Vice has an article that's all about it. Written by a guy who has a foot fetish. He's talking about how he started. How does that happen? Is it something you're born with, or are there circumstances that lead you or lead one towards that particular viewpoint or interest?
I can see why they would have written the article, because I can imagine a lot of people would be sort of interested in this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, they say that a fair amount of people who are fetishists are into feet. There was a study.
Can't tell you what percentage of the population is a foot fetish, but what they can tell you is that people who go to fetish websites, what percentage of them are foot fetishists?
Yeah, of those professing to have a fetish, feet were the most common preference for body parts or features and objects usually associated with the body. So that doesn't mean it's the most popular of all fetishes. It just means that of body part related fetishes, feet are the clear winner.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's, if I were to think of a fetish, I wouldn't think of any other body part really being a fetish, right?
Besides feet, you mean?
Right. So there's a few body parts that are sort of just traditionally sexual. You know, but these are the parts you're supposed
female
to
breasts,
like.
legs.
That's one of them. Yep. Butts and things like that. So I'm not sure that would be called a fetish just because it's so ordinary.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, fetishes are normally out of the ordinary, right?
So at that point, then...
How about the curvature of the neck? Is that a
I don't think so.
fetish?
I think that's just something you're attracted to. So...
Well, what's the difference between something you're attracted to and a fetish? I mean, a fetish is something you obsess over?
Foot and fetish are alliterative. That's the reason.
Well, that's nice. It's handy. The toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So I was reading the part of the story here where he explains where this, in his mind at least, came from. What was the origin of his interest in, or his fetish in feet? And he talks about when he was a child in his middle adolescence with other kids of his age. They were, outdoors with one another and walking in the woods, girls barefoot. They were plucking daisies between their toes. And he says, despite lots of yearning from the boys, particularly me, the activity within our co-ed sextet remained entirely platonic. The most titillating thing that happened from my perspective, he says, was that the girl who I was interested in ended up leaving a pair of sneakers at my house. Her two friends had been razzing her about how stinky they'd gotten over the summer. Resigned to the fact that sniffing her well-ripened British nights would be as physically close as I ever got to her. So just out of child desperation of wanting attention and all that, he says, I ended up huffing them whenever I was alone.
Oh, dear.
The effect it had on my person was so intense and profound that I feared that, he was talking about how he was turned on, that it would never subside. So apparently just the interest in this young lady, being able to see her toes and feet, and then having access to an article of her clothing, specifically her shoes, led him into this world. And then I guess she just left the shoes there, so he had them for some amount of time.
So I have to sort of put aside my disgust with all of this. And then realize
feet are stinky.
We're just animals.
Yep.
I've got this great dog that's staying with me. She's a St. Bernard.
They sniff each other's butts.
She is what I call a hot-nosed dog. She's
What's that mean?
What that means is they rely heavily on their nose. Usually I'm of the opinion that means they're good at it, good at using their nose.
Mm-hmm.
It could just mean that she's got droopy eyes and it's hard for her to
blind.
see.
Yeah.
Well, no, she's a St. Bernard. And so they're bred to have these kind of droopy eyes.
I see.
And it's a little more difficult for them to see. And, she loves to smell things, all kinds of vile things. There was a dead frog in the driveway, and she wanted to smell it, and Lord knows what she intended to do with it if I left her there long enough. Right? It's just gross.
Gnaw on it.
And bring
it inside. The dogs don't really do that. It's more of a cat thing, right? Bringing a dead thing indoors.
Yeah, she probably would have tried to consume it quickly if she had gotten the opportunity, because
she could roll in it too. They like to roll in death.
That I'm going to get her out of the range of that thing pretty quickly. So, because I don't want that in my house. It's yuck.
One time, Jazzy rolled in some death, and it was just awful.
It's hard to get rid of once it takes hold.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as the skunk. The skunk was the worst.
Yes. Anybody who's had a dog that's had a little run-in with a skunk knows what you're talking about. It's not much fun at all.
Poor Jazzy.
So we're not that far removed on the modern human, as we were described, as 200,000 years old.
Yeah, I mean, we're not that far removed from the monkeys throwing poop at one another.
The agrarian revolution is 10,000 years ago. So of 1/20th of the time that modern humans have roamed the earth, have we grown food and lived in a society and things like that. And I'm sure that that sexual practices, normative sexual practices, took a long time to get in place, even in agrarian societies. They didn't all just show up one day and say, we're going to do monogamy, and you're only allowed to talk about certain parts of it. That's all that's acceptable. I don't think that's probably what happened. So I have to just kind of put these things aside and think to myself, all right, well, you do you, pal.
Old man J. Raoul in our Twitch chat adds in that combined with the hormonal insanity of puberty, things can get weird quick.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then he adds, the author over at Vice.com adds this. He says, in my mind, the shoes were a sort of fetish-inducing double whammy. There was the smell of her, plus the idea that I was beneath her, figuratively, at her feet. So maybe kind of like a domination thing going on here. She came over to get them before school started, but in that week or week and a half that those kicks lived at my house, I acquired an enduring and expanding fetish, now in its 27th year.
What if he's contacted her?
What, since then, to tell her thank you or
whatever?
Can you send me your old shoes for old time's sake? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It does make you think a little bit more about the people that work in shoe stores, though, doesn't it?
No.
No? You don't want to think about that?
I'm sure the people who work in shoe stores are just selling shoes, by and large.
I'm sure that's true by and large, but I bet you there's a few of them that are really into it.
I'm sure they are. They probably have their preferences and find them on sale and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, so if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This story goes on. I'm going to put it on our social media, so if you want to engage in this further and investigate it further, then this is a good place to start. I'm not into it, but hey, whatever floats your boat, as long as it's consensual. So
yeah, that's what libertarianism is. Libertarianism is. It's just about whether or not it's consensual, and if it's not hurting anybody, and everybody's adult and consenting, then fine.
Apparently it bugs some people on the video streaming sites because the foot fetishists or people at least masquerading as them will come into chat rooms of women and like the women streamers, and ask them to show their feet on the on the stream. And I guess some of them will probably do it if the guy ponies up enough money.
Sure, if any of these streaming sites, you can put money, right? You can donate money right there as you're doing as they're doing things.
Tip.lrn.fm.
Tip.lrn.fm. And what's that allow you to do?
You can use credit card or PayPal to throw a tip into the stream, and then we'll see it. And there's like a message that you can include, so you could write something about your foot fetish or whatever, and then it appears on the screen. And if you tip over $4 worth, then a robot lady will read your message out over the stream. Like while we're talking, she'll just talk right over us. So you can get your message read kind of on the air, and then we'll acknowledge it, say thanks, and I'll hand out cash in the studio. More coming up here. Hour 3's next. It's Free Talk Live.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-301-5435. That's 800-301-5435. 800-301-5435.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,272, silver at $14.67, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,673. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, Facebook on Thursday banned controversial political personalities for violating the company's policies on dangerous individuals and organizations. The Free Thought Project reports the majority who were removed are far-right activists like Milo Yiannopoulos, Laura Loomer, Alex Jones, and Paul Joseph Watson. However, in a seeming move to appease those on the right who advocate for equal censorship, Facebook also banned far-left Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. While Facebook has previously banned the Jones and Watson-affiliated InfoWars from the platform, they allowed the personal pages to stay up. The bans came one day prior to May 3rd's World Press Freedom Day, a day set aside annually to celebrate the freedom of the press. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices, with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. As the United States continues its longest war in Afghanistan, the U.S. military has elected to stop releasing information often used to measure progress, citing uncertainty in the way the data is produced, which have resulted in subjective underlying assessments. The Mind Unleashed reports that in remarks to reporters last week, John Sopko, the Special Inspector General, criticized what he called a trend toward less openness by the military authorities, who are advising, training, and assisting Afghan security forces. The move comes amid a stalemate within the Trump administration, as the Pentagon has proposed sending nearly 4,000 more U.S. troops into the conflict, which many in the White House oppose. Some in the White House have even proposed withdrawing completely or handing over the American effort to private security contractors. As the Associated Press notes, the decision to restrict battlefield information is but the most recent step in a trend of less transparency about the war in recent years, often at the insistence of the Afghan government, which has, in previous instances, stopped the U.S. military from disclosing how many Afghans had been killed in battle and the overall attrition within the Afghan army. Several Jewish American activists were beaten and forcefully detained by the Israeli army alongside Palestinian and Israeli activists on Friday morning, while working to repair a road linking Palestinian villages in the South Hebron Hills. The anti-media reports those forced to the ground and dragged into military vehicles included several who appear to be rabbis and several elderly members of the group. The activists were part of a delegation of 42 Jews from the U.S. and Canada who were on a 2-week tour of the West Bank organized by the U.S.-based Center for Jewish Nonviolence to promote Jewish and Palestinian coexistence and to resist the ongoing Israeli military occupation. On Friday morning, the group was participating in a road rehabilitation project alongside Palestinian activists and members of local village councils and activists from All That's Left, an Israeli anti-occupation campaign group. After less than an hour, Israeli military and border control agents arrived on the scene, encircling the group and blocking entry and exit to the road. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Months after identifying the elusive Higgs boson particle, scientists at CERN in Geneva, Switzerland have announced that they've completely run out of things to do with their Large Hadron Collider.
We've tried some time travel stuff, but it doesn't really work. Black holes, but we already know like a ton about those. Last week we threw a bird in there. Honestly, we thought it would take way longer to find the Higgs boson.
Director General of CERN, Rolf Dieter Hauer, told reporters that while they, quote, might be able to figure out some more about quarks or something, for the most part, his team has spent much of the past year throwing pennies into the machine and turning it on to see if the pennies come out smushed.
We might just start building a larger hadron collider. Yeah, maybe a bigger collider for smaller hadrons or something. I don't know.
CERN has announced on their website that if anyone out there has any fun ideas for experiments, you can email them to ideas@largehadroncollider.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it is Free Talk Live. We are launching into the third hour of the program here. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I mentioned the very end of the last hour that we have social media. I just didn't tell you which ones. So
We have them all.
You can go to, well, I don't think we have them all. There's probably a bunch of sites out there that we're not a part of. But we do have Twitter over at twitter.freetalklive.com. We have Mastodon, which is the decentralized Twitter, like a competitor to Twitter, and I like it a lot. You can go to toot.freetalklive.com to follow our toots there. And
We've got a Facebook page, too. You just don't
I
like
don't talk about that. And I don't post there either. So if you want to see the stuff that I talk about on the air, then you got to follow us on one of the other platforms.
Yeah, it doesn't work to post our show prep on Facebook. Just doesn't work that way.
I mean, you can post it there, but
nobody's going to see it, and it runs up our it runs down our view count because Facebook doesn't like you leaving Facebook. So they prefer memes and posts.
Oh, you mean posting links to other sites? Facebook gets mad about that. They'll bottom it even further, like put it down at the bottom of the pack, make it so people don't see it even more than any other posts that you make. So let's see. So there was Twitter, twitter.freetalklive.com. There's Mastodon at toot.freetalklive.com and Telegram at telegram.freetalklive.com. That's where the stories about the bearded man in the military and the foot fetishist guy from the last hour, those are there waiting for you. And you can join us here at 855-450-FREE. Coming up, let's see, we had the story about the Army going after video gamers, plus the Satanic Temple is now considered tax exempt by the IRS. We can talk about all that, but let's go to your calls and thoughts first. First up, it's Rick, listening in Bowling Green to WKCT. Hello, Rick.
Hey.
Hey.
I was on my way to the store to do a little shopping, and I had you guys on the radio, and I heard you talking about the agrarian society and, the ages of humanity, and I think you referenced normative sexual behavior or whatever wasn't established until whatever, and it got me to thinking, a lot of things in religion that are morally, considered moral were based on time-tested things like disease control. Like, for example, some people don't eat pigs, and we now that have microscopes, we know there's trichinosis in pig meat that's more common than there is other meat. So the religions that didn't eat pigs is because they discovered that when they ate pigs, they got sick.
Well, I'm not sure that that's the reason the Jews did it. The Jews were pretty specific. It had to do with a hoof and not chewing its cud, a split hoof and not chewing its cud. That may be the reason, but that's not the reason they stated. So a cow will spit up its grass that it's eaten so they can chew it again later. It's a part of a process.
The thing that you talked about monogamy, and once again, monogamy is probably a good idea for just the simple prevention of spread of communicable diseases.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So, when you find, this free love stuff or whatever, that's fine, to each his own. But one thing that I'm discovering in our society now is that it seems like the pendulum has swung so hard that you're just the biggest bigot in the world. If you just, a church, on Facebook, a church just stated that, we believe in marriage between one man and one woman, and all of a sudden the LGBT community comes out and says they're the enemy. And the church didn't say one word about the LGBT community. They just kind of stated their belief, and you would think in a free country you'd be allowed to do that.
Well, first of all, it's not a free country. But regardless, freedom of speech does mean that somebody has the freedom to attack your speech with more speech. I mean, that's not the same thing as actually being attacked, right?
I guess not, but I'm just saying
they didn't crack their kneecaps in.
It's one thing to come out and attack, people. It's another thing for one group of people to say, look, our rules for our church is this is what we believe in. If you choose to share those beliefs, you can join our church. If you don't share those beliefs, then find a church that you are, more compatible with your belief system. I don't think that makes an enemy out of anybody.
I would agree with you, but I can, like people constantly are using their platform to discuss other people's platforms to discuss what it is that they think, right? Like that's just seems to be the way it is now, and it's been that way most of my life. I don't know why, but I'm thinking of Jesse Jackson or something like that. Every time something was happening, Jesse Jackson rolls out and goes ahead and speaks for all black people. Well, that's ridiculous, but it's what was done. And, now pretty much if anybody says anything, any company says anything, for God's sake, now you can see why companies try not to say anything at all. But if a company says something, everybody just jumps all over it and says their piece about it too. And I guess I'm not surprised that people in the LGBT community, many of them probably kicked out of churches, and, they're pretty bitter about it, are going to jump in and have something to say. Probably the most adult thing to do in any circumstance is just to say, well, so what? They've got an opinion, and I'm not going to comment. Somebody on the internet's wrong. So what?
Yeah. No need to start a flame war over it, although it can be tempting. Rick, sorry, go ahead with your thoughts. Anything else you want to share?
No, I was just saying sometimes it seems like the pendulum swings dramatically to the opposite. When I try to have a reasonable or polite debate regarding, freedom of belief, it automatically turns into, you're just a homophobe or whatever. The minute you don't just totally 100% accept their position, you're a homophobe. And I guess that attitude is making me more resistant to being sympathetic to their cause.
A lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize that some people will take the opposite position that they have, especially when you're forced. So, for instance, the regulations are now coming down from on high that you have to, if you've got a business, you've got to provide abortions, you've got to give insurance to the gay married couple, or whatever the situation is that may be contrary to your religion. I don't have to agree with your position. I just have to agree that you have a religion, and that's part of your religion. And your religion, doesn't have to be new. It doesn't have to be old in order to be a religion. You can have a brand new religion you decided that says that you can only wear red shirts today. I don't care what it is. Religion's basically a philosophy, usually not particularly cogent one, but whatever. And you should be able to have whatever philosophy, and you should be able to peacefully choose not to participate in whatever it is that somebody has decided that they're going to use the government to make you participate in. And I'd say Christianity has been on the wrong side of that plenty of times throughout history, and now they're beginning to see what it's like. However, that doesn't mean that you, an individual, have ever done anything, and it's all about the individual. Individual rights have to do with an individual. It's not about the religion.
Good call, Rick. Thanks for making it. I had to put you on hold during that because there's some talkback coming from your line.
Stuff going
a little
on.
noisy.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. I was kind of looking around because I'd seen some headlines about millennials or Gen Z and monogamy recently. Not that headlines really mean much of anything, and as it turns out, there are a few different types of headlines when it comes to monogamy. Is monogamy the new sexual revolution for millennials? That's one of them from thedailybeast.com.
I hear people just aren't having sex because of cell phones.
There's definitely less sex going on, less hanging out in real life going on when it comes to young people in the United States, also in Japan, as I understand it. And
some of these social media sites I'm on, they're constantly complaining about not being able to get into a relationship. Well, you're not going outside.
Right. Young Americans, headline from YouGov.com, young Americans are less wedded to monogamy than their elders. So, I don't know. I guess it just depends on who you talk to.
You get wedded to monogamy when the person that you want goes and has sex with other people. That's when you start getting wedded to monogamy.
So you can bring up whatever you want here. Take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. We can talk about the Satanic Temple, the U.S. Army recruiting gamers, and, of course, you can bring up anything you want.
To me, what I like about monogamy is that it's a commitment. you can say, look, we're getting together. We're going to start building a life together. We're going to start accumulating wealth. We're going to you're going to handle these jobs. I'm going to handle these jobs. We're going to have a division of labor, and it's pretty efficient.
Speaking of wealth, Gene the Christian Anarchist has tipped $4.20 into the tip.lrn.fm room.
I also want to say that
Thank
if
you,
I had
Gene.
any other opinion about monogamy, my wife would beat me.
And he said Ron Paul was right. Yeah, he's right about a lot of things. There's more on the way here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up anything here. This is Free Talk Live.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com with just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet.
I always dreamed of providing the nation with concise recaps of the week's events. One fateful summer in 1934, legendary onion mogul T. Herman Zwiebel was passing through our town to acquire an oil derrick when he overheard me calling in the oxen in my breathy baritone and offered me the opportunity of a lifetime. Yes, from the turbulent war times of the 1940s.
The Onion welcomes the majestic Axis armies as conquering heroes.
To the free-spirited 60s. And remember, there's nothing more cosmic than keeping your house insulated with Thermoflake brand asbestos. I can truly say I've been here for the turning of the ages. But now, viewers, my beautiful 19-year-old wife and I will take our much-deserved retirement to my Genevan chateau. I wish all of my detractors empty, destitute lives. And for my allies, I hope for all the pleasures availed by heaven. So, finally, let me say one last time. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You're invited here to join us on the radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, and that's where you can call in to bring up whatever is on your mind here on the radio. Ian and Mark in the studio tonight. And actually in our DLive chat over at dlive.lrn.fm, The Remnant asks, if I get an Edge wallet, which is a cryptocurrency wallet that we highly recommend here on Free Talk Live. They're one of our sponsors, but I've used them for long before since they became a sponsor.
Yep.
He says, if I get an Edge wallet, will they ask KYC questions? Do you know what KYC is, Mark?
Know your customer.
And what does that mean?
They want, in many cases, they want you to, as a business, they want them to take...
they being the government.
Yeah, the government wants businesses to collect your name, social security number, blood type, whatever it is that they can get out of you, all the information they possibly can get if they're doing money transfers and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, KYC also usually is heard along with AML, which stands for anti-money laundering. So these are the requirements that the federal government goons place upon various different financial businesses. So check cashing places, banks, you name it, credit card companies. But not Edge Wallet, okay? So that was the question.
Free Talk Live would likely never
I can't imagine taking their money if they were like that. Edge Wallet is...
Well, I'll say factual things about a product or an app, but to get me to recommend it...
Yeah, it's not going to be an endorsement.
I might say, this is a great wallet, except they participate in KYC, and it bothers me.
I've never seen that in a wallet.
By the way, they don't have to.
I've never seen that in a wallet. I don't know if it exists. Maybe there are some, but
you would have to if you were running a
like an exchange.
Well,
Coinbase,
a wallet. What do they call that? Custodial wallet,
where Coinbase or whatever other company takes care of your crypto for you.
Right. When they're taking care of your crypto for you, then they have to do that. But when they're not, then they wouldn't have to do that.
Right. So there is no KYC with Edge Wallet. In fact, Edge Wallet's available on iOS and Android devices. New version actually just came out today.
You always have control of your own money. They never have it.
Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Go to edge.app or just jump into your App Store, Google or Apple, and grab Edge Wallet. You can hold and store and sell and trade and buy cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, BTC, Ethereum tokens, Monero, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Stellar, Dash, and many more. It's edge.app.
And it looks like it's becoming a seller's market in crypto. So
what do you mean by that?
That means the pricing's going up, more people are buying.
Yeah, it's been going up over the last 3 months. It's been very, very good. So go and learn more at edge.app as we go to your calls and thoughts. Stephen is on the line listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Stephen, in Indianapolis.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. What's on your mind tonight?
I wanted to talk about the enormous amounts of UFO sightings been going around recently around
the U.S. what?
UFOs.
Oh, UFOs.
UFO sightings.
Are they higher than normal?
They've been going up since probably in the thousands. I'm talking, daily. I've seen a couple just driving, going from A to B, and it's insane, man. And not
have you
a
been
lot
probed?
of people are talking about it. Huh?
Have you been probed?
No, I haven't had a physical encounter.
So when you've seen what have you seen? Is it like something that's real far off in the distance, just like a flashing light, or have you seen something up close?
Well, it's more like the same distance as if you're stargazing. The far distance, like it looks like a star out there, but it'll zip by real fast in the blink of an eye.
And you feel like it's going way faster than like an airplane could,
or a meteor.
Oh, absolutely. It's as far as the stars are. I mean, just looking up without a telescope, driving when the sky's clear, no clouds in the country. I mean, you can see a lot.
Yeah, how do you know it's not a shooting star?
Well, I don't have proof that it's an alien or anything.
Sure.
But
well, then if you had proof, it wouldn't be unidentified, right? It's an unidentified flying object. So that by definition means you don't know what it is.
Right. But what I'm saying is, history has given us evidence. Area 51, Project Blue Book, all the declassified government files that's on the UFO topic, I believe aliens have a bigger impact in humanity than people think.
You think aliens are like having some kind of control in like government or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Can you tell me about some of this control? You said you believe,
it's
so
pretty much about it's pretty much how we view the Republican and Democratic Party, but
they are like
good
aliens, aren't they?
and bad. Exactly. But they're just faces. We don't really see the people that are, or the beings that are really behind.
Why don't we see them?
Wait, are you saying that the
on.
politicians are shape-shifting reptilian aliens?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're the puppet. They're the face that we believe are in control, but they're being told what to do.
So you think, hold on, you think the aliens actually are running the governments of the world?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They've been here for thousands of years. We've been seeded on this planet by what are called the Draco reptilians. They come from the Draco constellation.
Didn't I just ask him about
Yeah, that's what you
reptilians?
asked. Yeah. So, do the politicians get to see these lizard people?
I don't believe very few of them probably do.
Okay, so
but
how do
a
they
lot of
control them?
are just, they
Good
tell them what to do.
Like, do they give them a
tell
phone
what-
call? Do they call Trump on the Oval Office red line? Do they, talk to them in their brain, like through some sort of bone conduction technology? Like, how do they?
They send emails.
A lot of it's telepathic. A lot of it's just thought to thought, holographic, popping in and out of dimensions.
So the politicians know that they're being that these because if ideas were coming into my head, words and ideas were coming into my head, I might think I'm thinking. So do the politicians
until you see them in person and they make themselves known to you, and then you're like, okay.
Okay, I thought you said they
real.
didn't come in person.
Well, generally they don't.
I said
generally.
very few of
I
them
see,
have seen them. But,
Now, how do you know
maybe
all this?
some,
I
maybe
mean,
not.
Yeah, how did you get the inside scoop on what the lizard people are doing to the politicians in Washington, D.C.?
A lot of research, a lot of listening to people that study this topic.
Like David Icke.
Jordan Maxwell, for one of them.
David Icke?
Very good researcher. David Icke, I don't know. He's pretty celebrity.
I mean, how can they study? What can you research about this besides other people's bedtime stories?
You can go with science and evidence.
There's no evidence. What's the evidence?
Proves that we live in what's called different dimensions. Our reality is 3 dimensions.
That's true. And there's certainly the possibility that there are some kind of beings out there that have extra dimensional abilities to warp in and out of space or whatever it is.
But it's interesting
that
this whole thing came out after the V for Visitors 80s TV show that had lizard people running the government. In many cases, you'll
that was
find
a good show. I saw the remake. I didn't see the original.
You'll find aliens like the Greys coming out after in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Well, these things really just come from people watching TV shows.
Right. I don't think you can call it studying if you're just watching TV and listening to
If
Coast to
aliens
Coast.
are here, you don't have any idea who they are.
Thank you for the call tonight, Stephen. I appreciate it. But, everybody's got to have a hobby. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the show. You can dial in toll free and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. In fact, we got a couple folks waiting there, so we're going to get to your calls there as well. Over at discord.lrn.fm. Jump into any one of those 4 rooms. They're right there at the top of our list of different chat rooms that you can interact with other Free Talk Live listeners 24/7. On our Discord server. It's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live's heading out to Freedom Fest this July. You should come out and join us. It's the world's largest liberty-oriented gathering. This year's theme is the Wild West. Was it a time of liberty and opportunity or lawlessness and violence? Penn Jillette, Lenore Skenazy, Candace Owens, John Mackey, Kevin O'Leary and Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank, Stephen Moore, Grover Norquist, big names. Libertarians, conservatives, liberals, just people who are open-minded, mingling together and sharing ideas and real debates, real solutions, conversing freely. freedomfest.com/FTL.
When is it?
It's in July, right?
Yeah, but I don't think you mentioned.
It's not on my copy here when it is. I think
that
it's
would be
July.
Important information.
Yeah, it's important information.
I'm sorry I didn't catch that up until now, Mark.
So let me go on here. You
yeah,
can
sure.
Go
I'll
ahead
look
and
it
look that up.
Yep.
freedomfest.com/FTL, and you can get the 5 best speeches from last year for free if you go to that site, freedomfest.com/FTL. Judge Napolitano, Alan Dershowitz, Charlie Kirk, Heather McDonald, John Mackey, all of them free. Figure out whether you want to go to this great event. It is a great event. It's in Vegas. You'll be able to get see some shows with the wife. Have a wonderful time. freedomfest.com/FTL.
July 17th through the 20th. So now we know, and now you know, and you can make your plans. As we continue, we go to Penguin on the line. He's calling from the free market. Penguin, you're on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. Go ahead.
I sure am, and hopefully my audio is as great as always.
Yes, it is.
On the Discord app.
Thank you.
So I have a pretty serious call today.
Okay,
this is
we're ready.
Sparked from it was actually an hour-long fresh air on program on NPR I listened to about John Bolton, who's a truly frightening and just absolutely well, I don't want to say any kind of, diagnosis casually, but he's a truly frightening individual.
He's a government goon, right?
He was under the George W. Bush administration. He was appointed, and he's a heavy UN skeptic, but he was appointed as the ambassador to the UN, and now he is the national security advisor. He's a lot more influential than a national security advisor typically is. He takes a pretty active role in policy. So what really shocked me and made me want to call in on specifically on Saturday night was just to get the information out there about a specific incident, because you may know about this guy, you may hear about this guy. He was a Fox News contributor for a long time, and that's why Trump picked him, because he tends to pick his people off of Fox News. Not even a joke. I mean, that's exactly what he does. He actually picks his people off of Fox News.
When's Judge Napolitano going to hit the limelight?
Well, I guess that's why everybody's been throwing his name around, to be honest with you. Exactly, probably why. And there's honestly a good chance if the track record proves to predict the future. But in an incident with John Bolton in the lead up to the Iraq War, which eventually did actually occur, but this is before that happened, in that period of time between 9/11 and the Iraq War, when there was certainly the drumbeat to war. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, under Jose Bustani, who was the head of it, he was. They were targeting Saddam Hussein and Iraq to get them to accede to the Chemical Weapons Treaty. The Chemical Weapons Treaty is a treaty that over 180 nations, virtually all nations on Earth, are party to. That obviously prohibits the use of chemical weapons and opens you up to at any time inspections. And with all this WMD talk, Bustani and his organization were very close to being able to get, or I think maybe did get a commitment to, or even briefly an accession to the treaty by Iraq. And the next thing he knows, and I have the article here from The Intercept by Mehdi Hassan. I'm not sure if he was the guy on the interview, but I think he may have been. Well, actually, no, I'm not sure if he was, but this is from The Intercept anyway. And next thing he knows, and he's over there in, I think, the Netherlands, and next thing he has John Bolton sitting in front of him at his desk. And John Bolton says to him, let me scroll down here.
And when are we talking about? Is this previous to the second Iraq invasion? Or what?
Yes,
what time
2002, and the Iraq invasion was in 2003.
Okay, got it.
And so Bolton, then serving as the Undersecretary of State for Arms Control and International Security Affairs, arrived in person in front of the guy's desk and says, "Cheney wants you out. We can't accept your management style." He said, "You have 24 hours to leave the organization, and if you don't..."
So just to be clear, he's talking to the guy who's trying to get countries to sign on to a treaty to stop using chemical weapons?
Who's getting Saddam Hussein to sign the treaty, or has gotten a commitment or a signature. I'm not even entirely sure. Mm-hmm. But he goes on, "You have 24 hours to leave the organization, and if you don't comply with this decision by Washington, we have ways to retaliate against you." There was a pause. And quote, again, "We know where your kids live. You have 2 sons in New York." So, I mean, talk about openly mafia goon that's in the government.
That's horrifying. If
not
true.
Even like a goon, a real goon.
What's the source on this again?
The Intercept, Mark.
Oh boy,
yeah, The Intercept.
That's pretty reliable.
Yeah, they
reporting.
do pretty good journalism.
Yeah, and this is Bustani said that, and he didn't back down. Actually, they actually had to get him voted off the thing, but voted off of the chairmanship or whatever the role is in the.
So he faced down the threats, is what you're saying. So they didn't end up killing his sons in New York, as he suggested. He faced that down.
Yep. So the quote here is, "My family is aware of the situation, and we are prepared to live with the consequences of my decision."
That's amazing. Good for him.
Yep.
But
Yep,
I guess
absolutely.
the idea here is that Bolton did not want any publicity around Saddam Hussein signing any such document because they wanted the ability to invade. They wanted every excuse.
This was when Colin Powell was going in front of the UN, with the vials and all that jazz.
Yellow cake.
So they couldn't have that.
That they never
him sign
found.
that treaty, of course.
Right. Wow. Thank you for sharing that tonight.
Wanted to get
Anything
that out
else,
there, yeah.
Penguin?
It's horrifying. Yep.
Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. That's Penguin there on our Discord server. One of the bunch of folks that are hanging out there all the time talking about lots of different stuff. Check it out at discord.lrn.fm.
You can call in with a story, too.
Yes, that's right. Just like Gene, the Christian anarchist, who is on a different Discord line, because we've got 4 of them there, so you can just load right up. We'll join you, and then you can get on the air with us. But he's got to turn his microphone on. Otherwise, we can't put him on the air, because that will absolutely prohibit your ability to talk on the radio. Gene going once. Gene going twice. All right, we'll continue here. I guess we're going to Sarah instead. Sarah, you're in New Mexico. Go ahead. You're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, lucky for me.
Yes.
The phone difficulties, malfunction is always in my favor.
In this case.
Or people that use foul language, they get cut off and I get to get my turn.
Yeah. What were you calling about?
Yes, I heard that hundreds of Russians are down in Venezuela. They're very much involved. That's what I was announced on the radio news, and I do believe it. But I'm thinking involved as in like military, army. Are they there too? I know that they gave. They have 2 nuclear war jets that they brought in. But they're very much involved. That was announced. So I do believe it.
Venezuela has been relatively cozy with Russia for many years, in the Soviet Union before that, so I guess it doesn't surprise me.
Well, but it's going to come down to like a war, like confrontation, like North Korea. Like Korean War.
Oh, you think the United States' involvement in Venezuela and then Russia's involvement, and then we're going to have some kind of proxy war?
Well, it sounds like it can happen.
Sounds like it could happen.
Yeah, I would say that's the case. Now, there's actually news about this, so I'm glad you called in, Sarah, and thank you for the call tonight. Trump apparently had an hour-and-a-half-long conversation with Putin about, at least among other things, Venezuela. And some people are mad about that. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We can tell you more about it on the way. You can bring up what you want. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The Free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. TheMorganReport.com. TheMorganReport.com.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, Take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Oh, man. So much to talk about, so little time here. We had a bunch of things that we never got to tonight. And then Sarah called in with a really interesting topic about the Russians in Venezuela, allegedly. The news media, however, reporting that Donald Trump had a lengthy phone call with Vladimir Putin yesterday and Vladimir Putin urged sanctions relief for North Korea and warned against interference in Venezuela, according to the Russian embassy. The call lasted for 1.5 hours, according to a post on the embassy's Facebook page. And the pair discussed a, quote, shared commitment to step up dialogue in various areas, including on issues of strategic stability. The spokesperson for the White House said the leader spoke for more than an hour. Trump tweeted about the chat for a second time on Saturday, that's today, saying there was, quote, well, let me read the whole thing. Here's his tweet. Quote, very good call yesterday with President Putin of Russia. Tremendous potential for a good/great relationship with Russia. Despite what you read and see in the fake news media, look how they've misled you on Russia collusion. The world can be a better and safer place.
I think that the news media, at least if I was to listen to MSNBC, would have me to believe that Donald Trump is cozy with Russia. So therefore, like this shouldn't be surprising, I guess, a long conversation. I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to draw from this. I don't believe what I hear on MSNBC. Mm-hmm. And I find the idea of two guys with nuclear weapons as a possible solution to problems talking a good thing.
Absolutely, it's a good thing. In the same way that's
better than firing missiles.
Yes, in the same way that Trump talking with Kim Jong-un was a good thing. Unfortunately, the most recent meeting with Kim Jong-un was cut short early due to, I guess, Kim Jong-un feeling as though he was not being treated fairly by some in the U.S. government. And what's interesting about this position of Trump is it goes against people like John Bolton, who was just called in about in the last segment. And in fact, I'll get into a little bit more of the story, but I do want to say thanks to Riley Blake, first and foremost. Number one, for doing the Free Talk Live Digest, because he does that. It's a daily thing that he does where he kind of whittles down we do a 3-hour-long radio show. You cut the commercials and the news breaks out, and it comes down to about 2 hours of just straight-up talk time for the podcast. And then he takes that 2 hours and then whittles it down to like 20 to 30 minutes with whatever he considers to be the best parts of each show. Those daily digests are located on our podcast feed, which you can subscribe to over at feeds.freetalklive.com. In fact, there's a feed just for the daily digest, as well as a feed for the full shows, but the normal feed has all of them in it. And so thanks to Riley for that, but I'm actually bringing him up to thank him for also being a Free Talk Live Gold Amplifier, which means that Riley contributes $10 per month to the AMP program over at amp.freetalklive.com. That's ampamp.freetalklive.com. And there's some cool perks that you get for being an amplifier there, for helping us get on more great radio stations around the country. We had the pleasure of announcing welcoming WRKO to weeknights this week.
They don't get
it doesn't get much bigger than that.
Yeah,
it really
well,
doesn't.
The calls certainly don't get more recognizable.
Well, certainly people in the Northeast, all of them, probably, if you've heard talk radio before, you know about WRKO. I don't know how far if you're in California, you probably don't know those call letters, but they're big up in it's a Boston station, and it's I don't know, is heritage the right word for a station that goes back for many decades?
That's right.
Actually,
doing the same format for a long time makes you heritage.
In 1981, I actually did a little research on RKO today when I was writing our email update that I sent out this weekend, kind of announcing the good news. And that's like 1981, it's almost a decade before Rush Limbaugh even became a talk show.
Right, as far as being a talk station, 1981's about as far back as you could go.
Yeah.
As an AM. AMs were playing music back then.
Exactly. So thanks to Riley for helping us in the AMP program. You can join the AMP program over at ampamp.freetalklive.com. I'm going to read a little bit more from this story on Trump meeting with Putin. Friday, Trump told, this is Bloomberg.com. Trump told reporters at the White House that Putin had assured him that Moscow isn't seeking to, quote, get involved, unquote, in the crisis in Venezuela, despite assertions by the U.S. president's top national security advisors that the Kremlin is offering critical support to Maduro's regime. So he's countering his own team, basically. He's going against people like John Bolton. Troops said of Putin...
I'm not sure I would trust Putin's word on something like that. I
wouldn't trust John Bolton's either.
Maduro's guy, I'm not saying I do.
Yep.
Maduro's guy is likely Putin, and then Trump has his guy that he'd like to see go in. So I'd say this is an issue that needs to be solved in Venezuela, not an issue that needs to be solved in Moscow or Washington, D.C.
Right, and it also doesn't need to be solved by Moscow or Washington, D.C. troops entering into Venezuela, which is, of course, what a lot of people are afraid is going to happen down there. And with people like John Bolton in charge of that sort of thing, it could very well, if he's indeed the warmongering scum that he's been presented as, and I suspect he is. But here's what Trump said about Putin, quote, he's not looking at all to get involved in Venezuela other than he'd like to see something positive happen for Venezuela. And I feel the same way. The conversation, which Trump went on to describe as, quote, very positive, unquote, appeared to be another example of Trump taking Putin's claims at face value, despite contrary evidence from his own government. Spokesperson Sanders said on Friday that Trump simply was, quote, relaying what President Putin said to him. That's it, unquote. The White House National Security Advisor John Bolton and U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo both said, who's, by the way, I think former CIA, said earlier this week that the Kremlin talked Maduro out of leaving Venezuela after U.S.-backed opposition leader Juan Guaido attempted to end his regime by calling for a military uprising. In a video message posted Saturday on Twitter, Pompeo said that during an April visit to Cucuta in Colombia on the Venezuelan border, he had seen, quote, firsthand the misery that Maduro has created with the Russians' and Cubans' help. And then going on North Korea, the Russian embassy said Putin and Trump, quote, noted the importance of consistent progress towards denuclearization and achieving long-term normalization on the Korean peninsula because Putin had a meeting with Kim Jong-un recently. So I've had an article about that for a couple of weeks now. We just haven't had a chance. Just hasn't been on the top of my prep stack. But we've seen Kim Jong-un reaching out internationally to Donald Trump. Has had 2 meetings with Trump. There have been some really positive developments in North Korea as far as them stepping down the still ongoing but sort of demilitarized conflict, if you will, that's the war between South and North Korea. And so Putin briefed Trump about his meeting with Kim Jong-un. And then, let's see here, hours after their talk, North Korea fired numerous short-range projectiles off its eastern coast, according to South Korean authorities, a move seen as Kim's latest and most provocative signal of frustration over talks with Trump. And in that story about the Putin meeting with Kim Jong-un, let's see here, Kim criticized Washington. This is from apnews.com. Criticized Washington for taking a, quote, unilateral attitude in bad faith at the Trump-Kim meeting that has caused a diplomatic standstill. North Korean state-run news agency said recently Kim told Putin that the situation on the Korean Peninsula has reached a critical point where it could return to tensions, and that peace and security will, quote, entirely depend on the U.S.'s future attitude. So Kim's playing a little bit of hardball here. He wants sanctions to be removed before he removes some of the nuclear capabilities that his country has. Is that an unreasonable position from his side of things?
I don't think it is. Sanctions don't do anything to world leaders. They do things to
the people,
the poorest of people in a given geographic area, and it's not gonna it's really not gonna to do much.
Let's go to Gene. He's the Christian anarchist. He's on our Discord server. Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, I turned down my media volume. I think that'll help.
Okay.
Anyway, the guy that called earlier about aliens, he really makes me miss old Gene Ray and the Time Cube and how we're all educated stupid. I mean, Gene Ray actually had it figured out. He was the real deal. So,
which part? The part where he said that there were 4 simultaneous days happening at one time?
All the parts, everything. Gene Ray was the smartest man in the world. And
you can go to our page at freetalklive.com/interviews.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
I just give out guests.freetalklive.com.
Guests.freetalklive.com. Great. And you can see look up Gene Ray there and hear the...
He's crazy.
More than 10 years old, yeah.
Yeah, it's an old interview. He since has passed away, sadly, and the TimeCube website unfortunately went away with him, or shortly thereafter whenever the hosting plan ran out of money. But I suspect you can go and read it over at archive.org, which is a very handy website.
Somebody has to be hosting this already.
Somebody bought the domain, so if you go to timecube.com, it will not show you anything that has anything to do with TimeCube. It's some spam or whatever it is. But if you go to the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, go to archive.org, type in timecube.com, and prepare to be amazed at the madness of
But my own personal opinion about aliens.
You got 10 seconds. Go.
Okay. They would have no interest in us. We're just too tiny of a thing in this big old universe for them to be interested in us at all.
Gene, the Christian anarchist, well said. And we'll see you tomorrow night online. In the meantime, you can join us over at freetalklive.com.
If you owe money. Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Questioning Authority is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,272. Silver at $14.67, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,673. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Facebook on Thursday banned controversial political personalities for violating the company's policies on dangerous individuals and organizations. The Free Thought Project reports the majority who were removed are far-right activists like Milo Yiannopoulos, Laura Loomer, Alex Jones, and Paul Joseph Watson. However, in a